For years, I've been cooking chicken marinated in Dahi. But when this November rolled around, I started thinking and I asked my mom, Mom, why have we never cooked an Indian turkey marinated in Dahi? Is that even possible? She said, of course, because it's poultry. And then she put together this recipe that I'm going to try to follow and share. I have this turkey. It's not from India. It's from a country called Hanisagal. It must be pretty cold there because I'm going to have to warm this guy up and let him thaw out before getting to cooking. Okay, my turkey took a few days to thaw in the fridge. Now we're ready to prepare this marination. It's a wet marination, not too dissimilar to brining, so naturally we need kosher salt to carry these flavors into the turkey and add moisture. I've got a 1/4 cup. Next, I have 3/4 of a cup of grated ginger, 1/2 cup of grated garlic, roughly 1 cup of grated jalapeno peppers, 2 tablespoons of paprika, or chili powder, not hot chili powder, but the chili powder that's the cousin of paprika. Now we're at the Indian part. Here I've got a 1/4 cup of a homemade masala. There's a video for this on my channel if you want to learn how to make it. It's a simple masala with roasted coriander, cumin, red chilies, and peppercorns to give us a classic spiced Indian taste. And finally, we'll be using 6 cups of dahi. We're not ready to roll out a video on how to make dahi just yet, but don't worry. If you don't already have your own, you can substitute with full-fat Bulgarian buttermilk. Some people recommend using Greek yogurt in place of dahi, but in this scenario, buttermilk gets us closer to what we need to achieve. Once all the ingredients are gathered, it's time to whisk them together, starting with the salt, so we can work it in there well enough to dissolve it and turn our dahi into a nice, salty, briny solution. Then the paprika, since it's a finer ingredient, it's prone to clumping problems. And next up, we're going to be doing the masala for the same reason. I'm going to trade whisking duties to Mom here while I pour the stuff in because I'm bad at whisking. And finally, the grated ingredients in no particular order. Then it's just a matter of submerging the turkey in our dahi. We're using a 2.5 gallon size hefty bag since it's easier to fit in our refrigerator. We squeezed out all the air and wiggle it around to get everything equally submerged before putting it in the fridge to marinate overnight for 12 to 18 hours. We were only able to go for 12 on this one. Before we went to sleep though that night, we also prepared a dry rub. The dry rub had a tablespoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 2 tablespoons of that same simple masala from earlier. Then we mix it together to remove all the clumps. This is a rub that we're going to coat the outside of the bird with before cooking. After we did that, we went to sleep. When we woke up, the first thing we did the next morning was make our ghee infusion to inject and brush our turkey with. It's got 2 cups of ghee, also known as clarified butter. On our channel, there is a video guide walking you through our process of making it. So if you want to learn how to do that, it's right there. To that ghee, we added 1 teaspoon of hot red chili powder. You can substitute with cayenne pepper. 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 tablespoons of homemade garam masala. The video I mentioned earlier for the simple masala will show you how we made this garam masala too. A 1/4 teaspoon of asafoetida. A little bit goes a very long way, trust me. 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri mirch. It's essentially paprika or non-spicy chili powder, mostly for color. Then we have 1.5 tablespoons of dried fenugreek leaves, And finally, a 1/4 cup worth of chopped cilantro. Then we just stirred it on medium heat until it started bubbling. And after it started bubbling pretty well, we let it reduce to simmer on a low heat for about a minute. And after that, we strained 1 cup to inject into the turkey, put the strained leaves back into the other cup left over to brush our turkey with later. Then I started my charcoal. I'll be cooking this turkey on a grill. I thought about cooking it on an open fire to keep it kind of authentic and Indian, but that wouldn't have been practical at that point. Lump charcoal on a grill is close enough to open fire cooking for me. An oven is a good substitute though, if you don't want to cook your turkey on a grill. While the charcoal is starting, it's time to final prep the turkey for the cook. After removing it from the Dahi marination, I rinsed it off. With the chicken in the past, I've left it on, but with this process, it would be very salty and burn due to our cooking method and time. So rinsing, patting it dry, and tucking the wings behind set us up to inject and rub. I'll be cooking this turkey breast side up, so I sprinkled some rub on the bottom first, because I don't really care if it's seasoned or not. That side's going to get plenty of flavor regardless. Then I flipped them over to inject. My injection process isn't a perfect science. I just inject various points of the breast and legs. Pulling the injector out while injecting helps cover more area within the meat. And injecting before the dry rub gives us that ghee spillage on the outside for our rub to adhere to. Also, I'm not a big fan of dark meat on a turkey, so I heavily inject the legs. And this outside rub is basically just for aesthetic. The real flavor of our meat is going to come from the marination and injection we did. It takes about 15 minutes altogether. By the time we're done, our charcoal is ready for the grill. I dropped some charcoal in the water, which is embarrassing, but anyway, the water pan's there to diffuse the heat, and I've got my charcoal set up as a snake to burn clockwise around the turkey to help it cook evenly too. After I place the turkey, I put the lid on and don't look at it or touch it for an hour and a half. Once that time passes, I go ahead and take a look and give it a brush with that ghee infusion. I'd also check the temperature at that time, and we were sitting at 140 degrees in the breast, so I knew I had about 2 hours to go roughly. I cook based on the temperature of the meat and not the temperature of the cooker, so there's really no hard time frame that I can give you. It took me 4 hours though, because I prefer cooking my breast to 175 and the thighs to 180 or 185. That's 10 degrees hotter than most people recommend, but with the prep we did, this isn't going to be dry or tough at all. I continued to brush it and check the temperature every 30 minutes before it was ready to pull. Once it was ready to pull, I let it rest for 15 minutes. I made the mistake of tenting it with foil though. Don't do that or the skin will lose some of its crispiness. And to regain it, you're going to have to put it back into your oven for a few minutes. When I sliced it open though, everything was perfectly moist and not mushy. And the taste was as great as I hoped it would be. I even made some more of the ghee infusion to use as a gravy on the turkey, so if you try this recipe out, I highly recommend doing that as well. Pairing it with our stir-fried green bean casserole and strawberry dump pie gave us the perfect holiday meal. We've got videos for those two on this channel as well if you'd like to check those out. Thanks for watching.